Hey everybody, welcome back to Parenting with a Purpose. I am your host, Donna Janelle, the one and only. You know my aim, you know my strive, you know what I try to do out in this world is to bring back the responsibility, nobility, and beauty back into parenting. You know, parenting is not for the weak. My new word, parenting is challenging. What's up, Pam? Pam's in the house too, y'all. I can't even do the intro without saying, what's up, Pam? You know, Pam is a freaker flyer now. She's my new 8-spoon cone, so she's going to be up in here talking about, we just had a little slight disagreement a couple minutes ago, so we about to get heated in a second, y'all. But, parenting is not for the weak, right? Parents are the bows and our children are arrows, and they will land wherever we send them. May not be today, might not be tomorrow. It might not even be the next 5 or 10 years, y'all, honestly. I've been parenting for 25 years now, y'all, and I can see, it takes time, and it's a process for our kids to get where we want them to go. You know, the Bible does tell us to train up a child, so when they go, they don't depart, or they'll return back to their original state, right? Mm-hmm. It's hard, it's challenging, but, it is what it is, right? So maybe 5, 10 years down the line, they'll land where you intended them for them to be, but not in the way that you probably thought that they should be. Right. Because our kids are humans, individuals. We don't own them. They have their own life and processes and stuff, as you know. Even from the smallest baby, they don't even do what you tell them to do. It's crazy. It's like they got a mind of their own. So it's our job to train them, equip them. The most important job, I think, as a parent that God has put us in the earth for, if you could agree with me or not, Pam, is to really equip our children, give them the tools.
Yes.
To be able absolutely. To make their own decisions, wise decisions, and be able to be successful, whatever success means to them.
Yep.
Not success I'm gonna need you to go hustle, you know what I mean? Sell some drugs, be a stripper, prostitute, not like that. I don't want you to have that type of success, but I mean other success. Success that's not gonna land you in jail or cause some type of harm to you or something, right?
Because things do happen in the middle.
Uh-huh.
So, and like you said, we don't have any control over that, but we know that we gave them tools. So we should have a little bit more comfort and peace, knowing that I gave you the tools. And as you just said, train up a child in the way they should go. So when they get older, they don't run from it. They come back to it. So even if they dip back, it's I still got this in the piggy bank.
Right.
I don't know if I should do it this way or that way, but I'm going to try. I know this is my end goal. I know this is a goal.
Right. Yeah, you have some starting point, because I feel like if we don't give our kids the tools, we're literally sending them outside naked,
right?
And letting the world close them. And as well as I know, Pam, what's going on in this world today? The stuff that's going on today is so scary. It's eerie. It's almost like you don't even want to send your child outside, but you also can't shelter your child because you really need your child to be a part of this world, affect the world, make an influence, an impact on the world. Yes. But it's how do you do that in the midst of all this crazy, chaotic, I don't even know what to call some of this stuff that's going on between the rights for children, parents' rights, the political
exposing them to it first. We teaching them about it first. Prime example, my godson, he was in a band. His middle school got to play at William Penn High School for their football games. So William Penn's dance team come out, they dance. Mm-hmm. Well, it was guys in the dance team. Some of them had on certain clothing, some of them had on dresses. My child was able to differentiate, hold up. He's a boy. What is he doing out there being silly?
Right.
He's being so silly. Why is he doing that? And right there, I used it as learning, this is what some people choose to do.
Right.
I'm not saying it's okay, but this is what some people choose to do. We're not going to bash them for it. Mm-hmm. I said, if it's somebody that we know, we still love them.
Right.
I said, we don't have to be around there. I said, but at the same time, we're not going to treat them any different.
Right.
And she just was like, but what's making him do that? And I was like, that would be a conversation you would have to have personally with him. Right.
In this world, we teach our children not to judge, and we have to constantly remind ourselves not to judge, because we've been here so long and we certain things just the math is not math.
When I was younger, that wasn't a big thing.
Right.
You even used to call people studs. You had certain names for it. And it wasn't, I don't know, what is the word that I'm looking for? Like, oh, everywhere you turn.
Right. It was a little bit, people were a little bit more private on it, where we used to stay in a closet, didn't really talk about it. I think right now, because this political atmosphere of giving everybody what they want, trying to please everybody for votes, and then also when you think about human rights too, right? Like you think about human rights, like people have the right to be whoever they want to be. So it's so inclusive. But I think the concern and how how sometimes you let something go a little bit, you give something a little leeway, and then it takes off. Like give it an inch and they take a mile. And I think what happened was like, because of the freeness that people as adults were free being out of the closet, then they allow their children to because here's the thing about children,
to explore that world,
right? And this is the reason why the train up a child. Kids don't know nothing. Like they literally come in this world, man. Some of them got some spiritual insight about some stuff, but honestly, our job and our role as a parent, like if I got a little girl who thinks that they're a little boy, I'm gonna let them know that they're a little girl. If I have a little boy that thinks that they're a little girl, I'm going to let them know. So here's the thing. If you have a boy who's raised with all females, he's going to start doing what the females do, right? But it's your job to say, listen, nah, that's not, explaining the role of a boy and the role of a girl, like the gender, the specific gender, right? But we come away from explaining that and just start to accept everything. And it's not like kids really don't know. So my concern is I don't know how we got on this topic, but like being a nurse and working in one of the children's hospitals, I've seen like firsthand giving children at 6 years old hormones so they can change for transition. It hurts my heart, and it's like I'm not judging the situation, but I mean at 6 years old you want to be a boy today, tomorrow you want to be a snake. Like you might want to be an elephant. Like
what are your thoughts on the hormones to going through puberty?
Right.
When they're giving them to like the little girls now,
right?
The little boys to calm them down or to stop their menstrual.
Right. Yeah. So I've been through that too, working at the hospital, seeing a lot of it. So it's different reasons why children, go through puberty a little bit earlier. A lot of it have to do with the food, right? A lot of it have to do with the food that they're eating and the behavior. Like it's a whole inclusive thing of why children are going through puberty earlier than they were. But then when you look back on it though, honestly, like some kids were already going through puberty at 9 years old. Right. Back in the day, man, people was having kids at 12 years old. But we had got away from that. So now that we start seeing it again, we're like, okay, what's going on?
Right.
Because honestly, back in the day, puberty was pretty early. Yeah. But right now, I think the reason why these children are going through puberty this early is definitely the food. There's a lot of stuff in the food. And, I was reading what we had the other day. Oh, man. So these were like wraps, right? But they were seaweed wraps, right?
Oh, yeah.
Like they're green, they're seaweed wraps, right? So you can wrap it in vegetables and stuff. Something told me to look at the back of the packet yesterday. Now I'm thinking it's seaweed wraps. They're healthy, right? Why, I'm looking at caloric intake and all this other stuff, right? But don't you know at the bottom of that packet it says this product is known to cause reproductive cancer.
What?
Yo,
the seaweed wrap?
It was on the food wrap. Yo, and somebody had told me before, like, really watch the back of the food because they be sneaking. They be putting on.
Tiny.
Yeah, because a lot of our food that's here in the U.S. is banned in other countries. Like they can't have it. Other countries like, no, this causes cancer. We cannot have it.
Right.
So here in the U.S. with the FDA, like we're a little bit different with the USDA, and we allow certain foods that known carcinogenic, right? So when I read the back of that, my heart was broken.
That's crazy.
My heart was broken because you don't think you think that you're eating one way, and then something else is like, even like I don't even know how we got on this subject, y'all, but we gonna talk about it. I just read an article because it's all about our kids. We talk about hormones and stuff like that. What's going on in our kids, and as parents, we really got to be watchful of what's going on. So there was You know how you go to the produce store and you see the mist coming out? There's a spray over the thing. So
you think it's water.
Yeah, you think it's water. It's not. Some depends on what grocery store it is. It's actually a chemical that is banned in other countries.
Wow.
Like, I researched this. I'm not going to get no names out there because I don't have no money for y'all to be suing me. But what I'm saying, but you can't really sue if it's real, right? I don't know. I don't trust y'all out here in this world. So I'm not going to give no names. But do your research. Research this spray that's in the grocery stores that's spray. Because when you go to the produce,
think they really do it like they used to.
Some of the I could give some names of produce stores that they do. I mean, regular grocery stores. Produce stores don't do that. If you notice, produce stores don't.
It sits out.
Yeah, but some of these grocery stores, well-known grocery stores, have a mist that's sprayed on the fruits and vegetables.
That's what I used to do with that mist.
What?
You know how you can't get the bags open?
Uh-huh.
I used to wait.
Put your finger. It's a chemical.
It's like licking my finger.
Uh-huh.
And I'm like, I'm touching everything. I used to wait for that mist and open a bunch of bags.
Yeah. Listen, that mist is a chemical. It was opening the bag. So then the other thing, I don't know how we really got on this food topic, but seriously, because I'm like so stressed out and frustrated about the food, and I was like, this is why the Bible tells us to pray over our food, because you don't know. Because even like another thing I was reading, like, you know how you wash your fruits and vegetables, right? You scrub them either with baking soda or you rubbing them with vinegar, depends on which one it is.
Right.
You can't do it both though. You should never do baking soda and, because then you're going to make it a base.
Yes.
It's not going to, you're going to neutralize it and it's not going to clean anything. Yeah. Or you might pass out. So, but even though we're scrubbing that, the pesticides are grown inside of as it grows.
Yeah.
So even if we're thinking we're doing something, we're scrubbing the outside of it, which we should, because you just never know. But honestly, a lot of our produce, if they're using the pesticides and stuff, it's actually grown within, right? Oh, that's a word right there. It's grown. It's as it grows, right? It's not something that you're just putting on the outside.
Right.
It's in them.
It is, because think about when the farmers, what they have to do to prepare their field for the harvest for the next season, the different things they have to spray on it, the different things they have to use. So like you said, you really do got to prepare your field. A girlfriend of mine was like, I don't even know what I'm eating now at this point. I'm only eating packed tuna.
Listen.
I'm like, no, I feel you. She was like, because it's just so much. She was like, my chicken, I went to soak it. She was like, everything shredded. It looked like yarn or cotton. She was like, I don't know what it was. She was like, and she was mad because she wanted to make chicken tacos. And she was like, what is this?
What is this?
It turned like white. It was
so
crazy.
You got to be careful. Man, it's hard. It is really hard out here
and
too.
And that's why my child, she don't eat meat. She did it on her own.
So
All she eats is like starches and grains and fruits and veggies. I be like, Tori, eat this chicken, eat this. She's like,
My kids went through a phase, and now, I mean, we were pescatarians, vegetarians, and we went straight vegan.
Really?
Going straight vegan messed us up though, because we didn't have the proper vitamins and stuff. Girl, my teeth start breaking, start having problems with my bones and stuff, because you need the vitamins and stuff. So so we do eat meat because it is so much better to get your protein in a whole form. And also, like, people don't understand what's in some of these meats, like the vitamins and stuff like that. And so I get people that don't eat meat or whatever, and you try to supplement it or whatever, but honestly, we're not going to touch that. So it is difficult. You got to really be careful, even getting the meat, like you said. Like, I try my best to make sure that it's antibiotic free, this, that, and the other. And honestly, I just really pray with my food, because at the end of the day, I got to eat. My kids got to eat. But it's also just being aware of what's in the food, like we just talked about. Like, a lot of this red dye. Red dye is banned in other countries. Like, there's a lot of stuff that we feed our kids that are banned. Like, again, like, one of my biggest things about when I'm giving my godchildren, like, juices and stuff like that, when I give it to them, like, I don't have anything. Well, even for myself, if I can't see through it, we're not drinking it.
Right.
Because, like those Capri Suns, like that pack, like you cut that open, you can see a bunch of stuff. The cardboard. I mean, think about it. It's cardboard. It's like, it's paper. Like, anything can grow. Like, slightest little hole, mold can grow in it. So if I can't see through it, like, I won't give it to them. And for the most part, they drink water. But every now and then, I do try to give them some juice or something. But Because I've seen the nastiness in them, like literally
Right.
growing inside of those things.
Do you know what I like more? Store brand stuff.
Oh yeah.
I'm not really crazy about a lot of the name brands because where they have gone to extend their products so they could basically produce more. Like when I was a manager at Aldi's, that was something that like I've really got into because they like to use local farmers for certain stuff. But as Aldi started to grow, of course, their demand went up. And when
Right.
people find out about them, it's like, oh, you know, they're really not bad. So people are coming in. So they have to produce more. So now they're not just doing local farms. They're doing other farms as well. And their standard did kind of dimmy down, if I'm being honest, when it comes to like meat-wise. But as far as their fruits and veggies, they're only getting them from particular people.
Right.
But I saw that and I was just like,
It's crazy, right? So I always try to do local farms and things like that. So first of all, because then you know exactly where it came from, and
right.
you know, and it's not that marked up stuff, and it, you know, because for it to travel to us, like it got to go through a certain process.
whole
Like
process.
that's why, like if I don't get fresh produce, like right there locally fresh, like I do frozen because that's when it's
Yep.
its best. At least it's shipped and it's frozen. But it's so scary, like
It is.
how we have to monitor everything for our kids for their, you know, because kids need certain things for good, healthy brain and development, right?
Right.
So a lot of times, like we try to withhold things for our kids, like we want to put them like skim milk and stuff like that, but we need like whole fat stuff for them
even
kids
like
to bring.
the almond milk, it has no purpose in all honesty. It's just like almond milk. So
Yeah.
you're giving that to them as a supplement, but it's not really a supplement.
Right, because it's still lacking that. So here's the thing, like the reason why, you know, when they had whole, first of all, I don't think anybody should be drinking no whole milk, and it's from no cow. Like I'm just saying, but like especially particularly African Americans, it's a study like African Americans have the highest rate of lactose intolerance, right? So lactose intolerance is because we're drinking whole milk, we're drinking cow's milk, right? And that does not have a nutritional value for us. We can't tolerate that. Adults can, particularly African Americans, cannot tolerate the lactose, which is the sugar, right? Milk is the sugar. So we try to supplement with other things, but the problem is what we supplement with other things. Like, you know, when you buy certain milk in a grocery store, like it's added vitamin D, vitamin C and stuff, but then some of these other supplements don't have that in it, and we're still not getting enough. Like we're still the highest high vitamin D deficiency. Vitamin D, vitamin D. African Americans have the highest vitamin D deficiency, but we need it the most. Like vitamin D is not just for, you know, your muscles, like your bones and stuff like that. Like they tell you to do calcium and vitamin D mix because that's how it absorbs. But it also helps with mental. Like vitamin D, people don't understand how important. Like if you look at the levels of somebody who's depressed, I guarantee their vitamin D level is low.
Right.
And we showing that low vitamin D levels are in kids too. So now we're making sure that we give them vitamin D. I don't know how we got on this topic, but it's really important though what we giving our kids though, because we talk about for them to be successful. Well, we got to give them all the tools. That's part of the tools. And in order for us to do that, we got to research it ourselves. Like, and it's hard to find the right information though. Like you're looking here, 1 minute this is good for you, and 1 minute that, well, maybe it's not. But you just brought a point earlier though. So at one point something may have been good for you, but because they maybe outsourced it or did something else and it's no longer good for you, and you're still eating the same thing thinking it's good for you. Because I did not know that Aldi's doesn't just do local anymore. Like that was one of the reasons why I was going there. That and
for their meat.
Yeah. But that was
but
but that's why I was going there for their meats though, because their meats was always so pure and whatever. But you don't know that because they're not going to advertise that, because you just know something that they're known for, right?
Yeah.
And if we don't do our research and we don't constantly check and see what's going on, we're going to continue to give our kids bad stuff.
Yep. Because like at one point they even put limits on meats. Like you can only get one pack because it was just like going off the shelves so fast. It was just like everybody found out about Audi at one time and started swarming them. If you notice, like in Delaware alone, we had the one that was in Middletown. And then that was like it for a while. Then they built the one in Smyrna.
Right.
And then they started building them. They actually came from lower Delaware, worked their way up. Before the one in Middletown, the closest one we had was like Elton.
Right.
Then we got Middletown. Now we have the one on Kirkwood Highway. Now we got one on 273. So they're popping up all over the place, almost like McDonald's.
Yeah.
But you think they are really, these local farmers is really producing enough
right,
for all
these
to get it?
right. You know, like,
so, but I will say it's certain things that the veggies, the fruit, like it's a certain look, it's a certain standard that it had to have, or we're trashing it.
Right.
Like sometimes we were trashing so much. I'm like, pause, this is getting out of hand. They're like, no, it doesn't look like this. Like we literally have a checklist. If you worked 5 a.m., we had a checklist. It had to look a certain way. No bruises, no this, no that.
Wow. Wow. You know, a couple people I know, they grow their own stuff. They have like their own. Yeah. They're growing that stuff out of containers or even in their backyard. And I'm just like, that is so awesome because you know what you put inside yourself. First of all, you put your love in it. You're praying over your food and nobody else is able to take that. It's just that it takes some work. But I do, and I'm going to have a couple guests on here. We're going to have a couple guests on here who actually can tell us and show us how to have our produce and vegetables in containers in our own backyard, in our own house, and how you can actually have your house, your backyard certified from USDA as a farm. Like even your own local backyard. Wow. While growing your own stuff, like you can actually, and then you can start getting funds for a farm for your own backyard. Yeah, I know somebody, and I'm gonna have her on here. But she makes like berry jam. Like she's amazing. She does. Yeah, Jamaican farm mom.
Well, I'm excited about that because, you know, with Tour, like for Tour's first 2 years of life, I made everything with my breast milk that she would eat. But I only went to like local farms and our markets to get her fresh produce, and I made all her baby food. Like on the stove, no baby bullet, none of that. On the stove, pureeing it down, like freezing it, packing it, storing it. And I said, Mom, I want a garden one day. I said, I'm going to get me a garden. And she was like, no, you need one. And I was like, I would cook for like everybody's baby.
Listen, I really do want, my desire is to have a farm land, right? Do you know, like, there's a bunch of famous people who stopped, like, left music, left acting, left the NFL to build their own farms. Wow. Now, some of them did it for, you know, the cannabis stuff. Was what I knew of. But no, these are like people who really have their own farm, like real food. Wow. Real. And the thing about it is that after when you have a farm, you get to produce so much. So after you finish feeding your family, your neighborhood, or whatever, you be able to give it to other people. Yes. Like we really can solve the homeless crisis by literally just everybody having a farm and trading food for each other. I grow this, I grow that. Like this is what you got. We meet together every week. That's one of the way to solve the food shortage. Like we'll have surplus. Yes. Like for real. That's how other countries do it. And that's why they shipping stuff over here. What they sending to us is their surplus stuff. They selling it to us. Yeah. When we can do it for ourselves. All right, y'all. So that's what we were talking about. I don't know how we got on that, but that's so important to talk about, though. I think that's such. We could go on and on and on and talk about what our kids need as far as food and snacks and all that other stuff. Like it's a real, that's a deep topic. And we can go far with that. But tonight, you know, for the next 20 minutes, our focus tonight. Well, what our little disagreement was before we came live, because Pam and I had a disagreement, y'all. Most of y'all know me. Anybody who knows me knowing that I don't lay hands on kids. I don't lay hands on them. It's a lot of reasons why I don't do it. And I think I probably should have did it with the one that tested my end against her. She's 16 now. It's kind of too late. But I think if I would have laid my hands on her earlier. But anyway, I don't lay hands. But Pam, on the other hand, just informed me that she does lay hands. Yes. I don't like that. So we're going to talk about that. So tonight we're going to talk about different parenting styles, y'all, right? We're going to talk about the authoritative parent. We're going to talk about the gentle parent. A lot of people have a misconception on, hold on. I'm sorry.
On what gentle parenting is. Donna believes that I have a misconception on what gentle parent is. But sometimes I can't go that route with my child. Know those who labor among you. And you got the no tour. Was she being Tour, Victoria, or Big Girl? And my mom calls her Ladybug because she like, that Ladybug just be everywhere.
Listen, man. So here's my take on discipline, right? Here's my take. Everybody take a deep breath. Because stop laughing. Because oh God. So what I've seen and what I've noticed and what I experienced is that a lot of times parents are laying hands on their children without actually educating them prior to that situation. So that's my concern. Or they kind of do it in anger and get out of hand.
Right.
So when we talk about, child abuse and discipline, which are two different things, a lot of times what happened and the reason why the courts and stuff got involved, honestly, is because parents was taking it too far. Like parents was killing their kids, breaking them, doing all types of stuff because they were doing it in anger.
Yeah.
Right. So physically disciplining your child in anger will always cause a bigger issue, right? Because I'm telling you, this is the thing too, in my mind, you done smack somebody, you my child, like you 10 years old, you done smack somebody, so then I come smack you. So how am I teaching you not to smack people? Right. Or we just smacking people, right?
Yeah.
Like how am I teaching you not to be so aggressive but being aggressive?
Right.
So that's my take on it. Like
it's not with that part. It's not
that I don't believe in discipline. I just think that there's a structured way of doing it. So sometimes, if a kid is in danger, right? I've taught you have to cross the street and you just gonna run. Okay, now you about to die. Like right. I gotta get you to that fear to understand. Like your life is on the line here.
Right.
But for other stuff like you didn't do your chores or something, even getting sassy or a little bit of stuff like that. I just in my mind and in my heart just. How am I teaching you not to do something by doing it? It just doesn't add up to me. But go ahead.
Okay, so like if I talk to you and I tell you, when you done playing with something, it gets put away, and you got your days where you choose to do it. Then when I'm telling you, you getting smart to me, or you rolling your eyes, thinking I'm not seeing it. Now I deserve a little pluck or a little pop in the back of the head.
What?
Yes. You gonna get a little pluck.
So let me ask. Okay. So they were basically showing their emotions, like they were showing how they feel about the situation, right? Okay. So you're saying that if she rolls her eyes or something like that, she deserves a pluck.
Yeah.
What does that pluck teaches her?
Don't do that again. She said, "Mommy, you saw what I did? If I catch her from the back." She be like, "Mom, you saw what I did." I be like, "Yeah, I saw you." Yeah, she said, "I shouldn't have did that."
Before you plucked her or after you plucked her?
After I plucked her. Because she's trying to figure out why she got plucked in the back of her head. Or popped in the back of her head. Yeah, because I saw you. I saw your demeanor. Why did you get nasty with me? So I get what you're saying, but we already had a conversation before. So if you start breaking the rules, these are some of your consequences. I've already tried to... You can't have your iPad, or right. You can't ride your bike. You can't go outside. You can't go to Aunt Mary's or this person's house. We're not doing this week. I've already done that. Some of the things she's almost immune to.
Right. So
it's not like every day bop bop, or every day like the screaming and stuff. Yeah, the screaming and stuff. No. Yeah. I'd rather pluck her poppy before I scream to you because I don't want you to think that somebody should be yelling at you all the time. Wait. Now, she know people shouldn't just be hitting her.
I was curious, so you want her to say that?
She just told him that kid. My mom said somebody hit me in her back. She done hit somebody.
Damn, man. You just gangster teaching her to hit.
So, I think we have an understanding now.
Right.
Just like my brother. He didn't never agree. He doesn't agree with, like, belt beating and, like you said, being angry and hitting them. But, again, if I've warned you, and I've told you not to do something, and then I tell you the next time you do it, this is the consequence. The next time I do it, you're going to get a pop or whatever. So we have an understanding. Right.
Well, let's talk about, all right, so we're going to talk about beatings, and then we're going to talk about other things like yelling and screaming at, is an issue too, right?
Yeah.
Calling kids names and being like, like, And a lot of times it's angry because you're not with the spouse, the partner, the child's mother or father, whatever you start calling these kids' name. But let's say, what's the pros and cons in physically disciplining your children? Like, let's think about that. Like,
so for me, like, I was the child out of all four of us. Like, I got the most beatings.
I could say.
I did, like, all the time. Like what the heck? Like, isn't that necessary to the point where sometimes, like, you shouldn't even got that beat? Yeah, but you can't take it back. However, I feel like in certain ways they did like benefit me. You know what I'm saying? Because we had names for belts. So when if she telling me that I'm about to get a certain one, it's like I'm straight in my life.
Flag up. On the play.
What?
Y'all had names for belt, like each name, like it wasn't like one belt that had everybody's name on it. Like you had different.
We had Thunder.
Thunder.
I'm so serious. If my mom is watching this, she knows. She used to be like,
"Oh my God,
that right there will get you Thunder."
Wait,
so we used to be like, no, we don't want that. So she had thickness and different belts because, you know, my mom was in correction. Yeah. So they had to have certain belts for their gear, you know. So that one that she had to wear for her gear, that was Thunder. Like,
we got Thunder, we got Tornado.
Yeah, and then it was like some little simple one. It was a little thin one. Like I'm gonna ask her. I'll come back and tell y'all. It was like a little thin one, so it was just like, you know, blah blah. But with the Thunder, you only needed one.
I bet so. I mean, I'm bringing the Thunder.
I'm not doing it again.
Wow.
Now, my brother, on the other hand, like, I didn't resent my mom for beating me. I used to just be like, because I got to the point, I'm like, oh, I'm probably going to get in trouble. I'm going to lay her up. So, like, yeah, I was smart in the game. However, with my brother, he resented, like, my brother who 11 months from me, he resented my mom for that. Yeah. She just found out probably, like, maybe, like, 3-4 years ago.
Wow.
He was like, why did you do that? I hated you for that. Like, I didn't understand. He was like, because I feel like some of that was from other things and you didn't know how to communicate them. So you used to already come home on 10. Like, yeah, you got an attitude. Like, we just might didn't experience something for the first time. Like,
right. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, sometimes we're so quick to whatever if we don't handle whatever we got going on emotionally, because a lot of times, even back in the day, we've never talked about emotions. Like right now, emotionally intelligent right now, emotionally available, unavailable, these are new topics, right?
Right.
These are words that we have that back in the day we just never talked about, like, you know. And I don't know, like, I feel like a lot of stuff is really sprung from slavery, where you weren't supposed to have emotions, you weren't supposed to show that emotions, and then it just comes to generational, and that's how our grandparents, our great grandparents, and just continue, and nobody began to challenge some of these things of why we're acting this way, right? So now with this new generation, these kids, like, we different. Why are y'all doing that? Like, so it's different, and it comes off disrespectful, but it really isn't. It's just like they're questioning why we're doing certain things that we should have questioned a long time ago.
Right, like, we take it on and they ain't got nothing to do with it.
But listen, like, why are we doing that? Why? So yeah, sometimes back in the day as parents, like, they weren't emotionally available. So whatever went on outside of the house, those people in the house got it.
Yeah.
Especially, and it always landed on the kids, because the kids are innocent and they cannot, you know, protect yourself, and they're under your authority, like, because then you start hearing, I brought you in this world.
When you say
Wait, it is, but it's really, people don't realize that. It sounds like real abuse, right? But if you're not in tune with it and you're not thinking about it, like, that's modern day slavery. Like, it's a lot of stuff going on. And like, and then if you begin to challenge, the first thing that your parent will say is, I brought you in this world, I'll take you out. Right. Now, if that don't scare you, I don't know what's scary. Like, you can take me out of this world, I'm going to shut up and never talk again. Yeah. You will never understand my emotions, because I'm never going to show you those emotions.
Right. Because
you brought me in this world, whatever you had to do to bring me in this world, but you also have the ability to take me out. And the reason why kids became scared, because parents were taking kids out. It was a real thing.
No, you're right.
Or like, they get you the guilt trip of, I provide food, clothes, and shelter for you, right? And we never talked about the emotional point. So parents weren't dealing with their own emotions. Kids' emotions would bottle up, and then it was just kids began to behave a certain way because they weren't able to express themselves. And then the parents who are not emotionally intelligent, right, weren't able to discipline their kids appropriately or understand what they're going through. So then they lash out and they whoop them and they beat them and they hurt them and they crush their spirit in their hearts.
Yeah.
Now,
and that's why you got like low self-esteem.
Mm-hmm.
You have all different kinds of things. Wow.
Mm-hmm.
When you just broke that down like that, I'm like, yo, that's crazy.
It's crazy.
But me as a kid, I'm just like, she mad at something else. I don't even care.
Yeah.
So even sometimes when like I would get a beating and I'm like, I ain't even do nothing. Like it was times I took it for the whole team.
Yo, me too.
I ain't had nothing. I wasn't even there. But
I used to.
You get what I'm saying? And when I realized that, I'd be like, yo, like mommy really mad. Like what is she upset about? And then like my dad, he wouldn't beat us. He'd be like, Mary, don't beat my kids, right? So she's like, then you gotta go here. So we used to crack up at that. But I remember one time I asked my dad to go somewhere, right? He told me now when he said it like with this demeanor, it was just like so harsh. And I said, I walked away, I said, I don't know who he think he talking to. I'm a girl, right? I got gripped up. I was 14. I'll never forget. I got gripped up so quick. I said, you better get off of me. You better get off of me. I told myself, I'm going to tell my mom. He said, I'm your parent too. I said, oh yeah. I said, but you ain't never did that. I'm 14 years old and I never got in trouble by my dad. Mm-hmm. So it was just like, he was the parent like, come here, what you do?
Right.
What made you do that? They was messing with you, wasn't they? Or they did this or they did that. His thing was, let's talk about it.
Let's talk.
Don't be doing that again because I got to leave work and come get you from school or I got to do this or you going to upset mommy. Like,
right.
Just do right. And it's like, okay, Dad.
Yeah.
But my mom not hearing that.
Yeah, no. So I used to, in the household growing up, it was the four of us when we were really young before a lot of crazy stuff happened. But I used to, my mom, there was a big belt, it had holes in it, and it had everybody's name line on there, right? It was fat, and it had everybody's name on it. All of them.
Was big.
Yeah, it was a real belt. Like everybody.
Yours should have been Big Thunder.
We called that thing Big Thunder. Something, because that thing was no joke. But my mom used to go off all the time. Well, now I look back on it, there's a lot of things that I process now. But back in the day, she used to go off all the time. And me, I never wanted to see my mom angry, right? I wanted to be able to please her, whatever. So whenever she'd be like, somebody did something, and everybody come downstairs and line up, and nobody wants to own it, or everybody's getting a whooping. So me, I'm like, I don't want her angry, and I don't want everybody to get a whooping. Right, even though I didn't, that's a lot. Like, even though I didn't do anything, I used to take the beatings for the team. I was a tough one, though. I was a fighter and stuff. Like, I used to take the beating. But it was a lot of it was me feeling bad for my mom, and then me feeling bad for my siblings. So that was me just trying to please, even at a young age, trying to please everybody, even if it caused for me to be the sacrifice. Wow, that's something I
was just listening to that whole thing. I was like dissecting it.
Yeah, now, because as an adult, I had to figure out why I always thought I was a sacrifice. Like, I had to be the sacrifice.
You talked about that, like, with your marriage and everything. Yeah. So, like, it went with you from a child on. Like, that cortex is real.
Yo, wow.
What you learn, see, and hear is like...
Yeah. So, and the other reason why... one of the other reasons why I'm very careful of like disciplining kids, me working in the nurses at Children's Hospital, right, for so long, I've seen, and working as a foster care coordinator, right, and now advocate for kids in foster care, I've seen the worst of the worst, and a lot of it is out of anger and frustration. So I always tell people, like, calm down before you discipline. Think about it before you do. I had a young lady who was 15 years old, and her dad, she wasn't allowed to date or anything. Like, you ain't dating or whatever. Right. And she snuck a boy in the house, and they weren't doing anything, but it's the fact that it was a male in the house, and the dad went off and he shot her. Yeah, he shot her. He shot his own daughter because he was so angry. That's what I'm saying. This is what anger would do. So because he was upset or whatever reason, as a parent, like, you don't want to see your kid go down the same path you did. You don't want to see your kid doing wrong. And then also, if you're the authoritative parent, you don't want to see your kid do something that you told him not to do. Right? So then you start to go do crazy things. But he shot her, and she was in the hospital for like over a year, and she can't walk and she can't talk or anything like that. And of course he's in jail, but like her brain, you can't even, like, her face is sunk in and everything. Like, the girl survived, but at what cost? Like, so because the dad was so angry and he shot her, like, so, like, do you say that that's like, oh, she deserved to get shot because she should have did what he said? No. Then I have another case where the little boy was only 4 years old and he stole a quarter off his mom's dresser. Now, you know, back in the day, we got in trouble for stealing, right? But she decided to set his fingers on fire. Wow. Now, well. See, that's what I'm saying.
Like, you gotta have some limits and some boundaries, because just like, for instance,
I'm trying to tell you,
if I know if I feel like I'm going to scream, or I feel like my mom is address the thing right then and my mom thing was address the thing right then and there. After a while, you done forgot what you done did, so like, don't come back from that thing. So my thing is, if I can't address it the way I want to be addressed, even right now as an adult, like, I'm not going to address it with her.
Right.
So if I feel like I'm going to scream and holler, I'm not going to say anything about it. I'm going to come back to her later, but I'm not going to beat her then. You get what I'm saying?
Right.
Like, I'm not going to spin a block and beat you, and it done happen hours ago. No, we're not doing that. But what I am going to say, like, next time you move like this, it's going to be some other consequences.
Right.
We're not just going to have to say bye to a toy or do this. Like, it's going to be some other stuff that happens.
Right.
Do you understand what I'm saying to you? She goes, yes. I said, no, but you're not giving me eye contact. Do you understand? So, like, at that point, that's like past anger. That's rage. That's
rage. And that's what's happening. A lot of times, parents are parenting in rage. They're parenting out of frustration and rage, and they're harming children. The way that you just said it now, like, I constantly see people spin a block about a day ago or 2 days ago, you did this, and now I'm going, no, I'm pissed off so much, I feel like taking this anger out on you.
They say you forget that man, you forget that child, and move on. Like,
right?
Don't do that to them kids.
Yeah, so a lot of stuff happened.
That's crazy. Set the fingers on fire.
Yeah, I got some stories for you about what happened.
I'm gonna stop saying that to her. I just said like my mom used to be like, bring that heat to you. That means you okay. Girl up. But I be like, girl, I'm gonna set you on fire. But I mean, like, yo, I'm gonna make it hot. Like,
literally, people set their kids on fire. Literally, a lot of things happen.
Now I can't even say that.
It's really, I think parenting has to be so intentional no matter what style your parenting is. Yeah. Like, what do you want your outcome to be? Like, we just talking about, like, you know, raising our kids so that they could be successful, right? So what am I putting more damage in you? Am I hindering you, or am I causing you to not be able to grow and develop properly? Like, what am I doing to hurt you? Now, if I'm disciplining you to teach you this is the way to go, and I've already had, I can't tell nobody how to parent, but if I've already went through the steps of having conversation, this is not the first time you're hearing about this, and I'm not just going off to go off. Like, for example, I told you, like, I have adult temper tantrums. Yeah, listen, I'm trying, y'all. I'm trying. But the one that touched my inner gangster just be getting me. Or even my son now, like, you know, these 16-year-olds, like, no, it help. You know, his whole thing is he don't be doing what I tell him to do. And again, we don't control our kids, but if I already had a conversation with you about taking the trash out, and I come back in the house and the trash man is coming down the block and that trash not out, I'm upset. Get up. What did I tell you, right? And then at the same time, though, I did have a conversation with Kels, my prayer partner. We were talking about the difference between boys and girls. My girls, I could tell them and they got it. My son, he'd be like, can you write that down? Can you send it to me?
And he's serious.
He's so serious. And I don't understand why I got to write it down. I just told you. Right. But now the result of it, of him not being able to write it down or me not sending it to him, it's not getting done. So even though even though he told me what he needed, me as a parent, I didn't honor and respect it. I'm telling you what I need you to take that trash out now.
Wow.
But he's telling you, Mom, I need you to write this stuff down because I'm not going to be able to remember it. And he proved that that's true. Right. But how can I get mad at him when he told me what he needed?
He's telling you the tools that he needs to be successful, and he neglected to show up and serve in that area.
Ooh, dang, Pam! Did you have to hit me like that?
Yeah. Yeah. That's wild.
That's something. But did you have to hit me? Okay, you smacked me. Okay. That's payback because I told you not to lay hands on Tora.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm trying to get better with it, but it keep continuing to be a lot talking.
It keep be a lot talking. I think that
communication.
but I really do, because it helps them communicate with other people too.
Yes.
I think like most of all, like we don't realize like how we discipline our children is how they're going to show up in the world.
Yeah.
And if we're constantly beating and yelling and screaming and being aggressive to them of things that we don't like, that's teaching them how to do that to others.
Yeah.
And also for them not to respond until somebody does that to them. I'm not that's why these teachers having trouble. I'm not moving unless you yelling at me or you screaming at me.
Right.
Like that's why these teachers can't really do education, because they're disciplining
And they gotta threaten the kids with different family members. And
yeah, because it's like our children are so accustomed to one way of discipline, which is very aggressive sometimes, that sometimes it's necessary, but it's just it's just a way of doing things. But it now circulates outside of the house and into the schools, and we wonder why these teachers are having so many problems, because Johnny can't hear because you done yelled at Johnny all the time, and Johnny can only hear when I'm screaming at him. Why I gotta scream at Johnny? Because that's the only way that he responds, because that's what he's used to. So we gotta just take parenting. We gotta figure this out and parent appropriately to each. Every child needs a different style of parenting. Like I got the 4, and every kid is different. Like every kid is different. And then they think that I'm taking like the one that tests mine against all the time. She be like, you let them get away. No. It's a difference, because they actually is listening to me, but you're not. Right. So now I got to handle you a different way. I am trying to be a little bit better emotionally with her, the 16-year-old, because I'll be walking away, because I'm like, I'm not going to jail for no kid. Like, because she be doing stuff that make me so mad. Yeah. And I think she wake up, be like so now I'm just like, okay.
Mom's a target for today.
Like I feel like she wake up and say, what I'm gonna do today to her? Let me see if we gonna get them antennas, see how godly she is, or see if the Holy Ghost still in her. I be thinking that she be trying to test me. Like I wonder if she's still gonna be God. You know, I see her, she ain't break yet, but I'm gonna try to break her. I feel like she be trying to break me though. I do. But trying to, instead of walking away and say, I don't want to talk to you, because I can't control my emotions at the time, because now I'm feeling disrespected. So now I'm going on the defense, and I'm not being able to parent properly, because now I'm emotionally a wreck because you done made me mad. Right. So I'm trying my best to get my emotions intact, so that when she does stuff, she don't understand. It don't move me. Like, you know, like you not making me so mad where I got to walk away and forget that I told you to clean that room for 2 weeks straight. Like we not going to do that. So I'm working on that. So as parents, that's what we got to do. Like recognize like that area is a little weak. Yeah. But like I'm not telling people how to parent. I'm just saying that what outcome do we want, and how do we work towards that outcome? And
do you even realize your style of parenting? Something I would say is just take a moment to step back, be brief, and see the style that you are parenting, see the results that you are getting, and as Donna said, like, are those the results that you want? Yeah. What do you, even just maybe getting a little feedback, see what they say. Like, if you was the parent, and you know, give it to them that way. You know, some of them that are younger just say, now, did mommy or daddy tell you to do this? They say yes or no. Now, was that nice? Was that good? How did that make you feel, knowing that it upset me? Just asking them different questions and going from that for the younger ones, you know, coming at it with different angles for the different age, you know, age appropriate. But like you said, so we can start getting the results we can see, because then that has an effect on the home, the neighborhood, the community, and then now, you know, the schools, and then as the world. Right. Because believe it or not, like, again, we talk about clothing our children so that the world doesn't clothe them, because, like, I see so many children, like, disrespecting adults out here in the world. And my first thing is, like, well, how do you treat your mom? How do you treat your dad? And then I had to think about, well, how are they treating you? Because we only act, you know, according to how we're treated or whatever's going on in the household. So whatever goes on in the household, the house is where your first education, your first love, how you learn how to communicate and deal with people. You learn that the first years of life. So if that is tainted, you're going to go out in the world and do the same thing, and we'll wonder why these kids are having so many problems. You don't want them resenting you either. Right.
you gotta check your. Honestly, parents, we really need to check ourselves
Yeah.
before we wreck our children. It's really.
They used to say check yourself before you wreck yourself. But now as the adult,
you gonna wreck these kids.
Yeah.
And it could be non-intentional, but we got to be intentional of how we parent. You know, whatever. Sometimes, like maybe you're authoritative parent, meaning that you're a dictatorship or whatever, because that's how you were raised. That's how your mama were raised, and you know. But then I would ask you, how that work for you? How do you feel about that? You didn't even like it, but then you're gonna do it for your own kids. So I think it's really just evaluating on what we want and how the approach of how to get to it, keeping our kids intact as much as possible, like not breaking them apart, you know, not with our own, you know, there's a scripture that I always hear, like a woman breaks up their home with their own hands. And I think that goes with breaking up our kids with our own hands. Like we don't want to break our children before they even have a chance for a future.
Oh yeah.
Right.
That was a good one.
Yeah, you know, because we keep saying our kids are the future. Well, it ain't gonna be a future if we breaking them. We gotta stop, and especially with everything going on in the world. These kids are different. They're so intelligent, and they could just do stuff like in a blink of an eye. Like I really believe that the generations that are coming before us now really have a good insight of even what this political war is, what the spiritual war is, with a lot of stuff that we've been fighting for years, a lot of demons that we've been fighting or we haven't even chosen to fight, and we just let walk around, and then our kids have to fight these things. Yep. And I think that these are the generations now who making parents aware and check themselves so that we don't continue to break or bleed or do anything disruptive to our children. Now, there's not such thing as a perfect parent, but I'm the perfect parent for you. You know what I mean? Like I tell my kids like that, I ain't the perfect parent, but I'm the perfect parent for you.
Yeah. I tell Sue, God gave me you. God gave me to you for a reason. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So I think I know a little bit of what I'm doing.
Something. Something. I've been there for a minute. I'm doing something. You still here, right? But I'll be telling one that test my indication. I'd be like, did you die though? Did you die? Oh, okay, now. And because we did a monologue in church a couple of weeks ago, right? And we were talking about a lot of tragedies that happen in family. And then she brought up Abraham putting, you know, his son on the altar. Yes. And she was like, what kind of parent would do that? And I was like, well, God told him to do it or whatever. And then she was like, but why would you do that to your child? Right. And then she was like, he almost killed his son. I said, but did he die though? And she was like, but he almost. I said, well, almost doesn't count. So now when stuff happens, I'll be like, did you die though? Because that's the one I got to check that one like that. The rest of them, I don't do that. But anyway, so parenting with a purpose. We have to really understand our purpose into this parenting thing. Like, what is our calling to? I believe that parenting is a ministry. Mm-hmm. That everything that we do is really to the success of our children and teaching them the way to go, so that we're not going to be here forever. Right. And we want them to be able to not just be influential in this world, but be impactful in this world. Absolutely. How, you know, have such an awareness, a self-awareness of how they are and their responses, their emotions under control, and how to communicate with people and how to get things done in this world, because we need them to get things done in this world. So that's pretty much what I got. Yeah. As we wrap up. So I don't care what style parenting you have, just evaluate it and see if it's working for you. What you gotta say, Pam? Working for you?
I agree. Like you said, just take a moment, step back, debrief, and start asking more questions so you can have that relationship, have that rapport, even building that bond back if some things have been broken or, led astray. Just have that open line of communication, and then evaluate yourself, evaluate your situation.
Mm-hmm. And I think most importantly, like, as we talked about throughout the show, throughout this last year, is repairing yourself, healing yourself so that you don't bleed over your children. Mm-hmm. Physically, mentally, financially, whatever area of your life it is, like fix that so that your children don't carry that burden.
Absolutely.
So whatever we got to do, whatever you got to do as parents, just be conscious and be intentional of how you live it. You know, stuff that don't work out for you, like why would you think it work out for the kids that way? Or just thinking about holistically of this parenting thing and how you want your children to be successful and how you as a person outside of your children want to live and be successful, because ultimately how we treat ourselves is how we treat our children. Yeah. Period. That's how our household will run. So thank you for joining Parenting with a Purpose. I am your host, Donna Janelle, and that is
Pamela Chapman.
We're going to get on cue next time. That's Pam, and we're here to bring back the responsibility, nobility, and beauty back into parenting. Yeah. I know it's hard, but you can do it, and we're here to help you. Thanks for tuning in.